Hello, Dr. Charles Lee. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so glad to get to talk to you. So, tell us a little bit about your role and what projects you are working on.
Um, my title is Senior Director of Education at a company called First Data Bank. So, First Data Bank provides drug information for integrations like, pharmacy systems, EHR systems that drive decision making, like dosing, side effects, drug interaction, things like that. I head up a product called Medication, which is a product designed for nurses to provide patients upon discharge. It kind of like consolidates all the homegoing medications in a calendar format that tells them what the medicine is for, at what time of day to take medicines, and how much to take to simplify adherence and reduce medication errors. So that's basically what I do.
Sometimes we got to get back to the basics, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
people
Exactly.
don't understand why they're taking medications and when to take them, then
Yeah.
things can get really sticky. So,
Yeah.
that's a very important development. So, what innovations would you say are making the most impact on nurses today?
Well, in terms of innovation, I like to think of it as solving problems. So going from innovation to what is it that we're trying to solve. And the three most important areas that I heard from nurses are lack of time, um, the burden of documentation, and staffing shortages. So any technology or solutions that impact any one of those three areas, I think are things that will actually have an impact. So it's not just something nice to do, but something that's going to actually help the nurses save time, reduce burden, and things. So that being said, I know there's a lot of talk around AI being ubiquitous, and I know there's a lot of resistance from nursing folks and nursing unions. But I think if they can be used properly and strategically to, like, for instance, reduce or summarize interactions, or to be able to reduce the burden of documentation for the nurses to allow them to do actual care, I think that's one thing. Another area that I found really interesting is is around virtual nursing, allowing more senior nurses to come back to nursing, where we can tap into that historical knowledge that we lose because of the nursing churn and burnout. So I think that is something that I think is really helpful, and to be able to integrate AI in terms of guidance and helping make decisions and decision prompting and information at the point of need. I
Mhm.
think integrating that with virtual nursing is going to make a tremendous amount of impact. And I know it's not widely used everywhere, but those places that do use it, I think they can fill in those nursing shortages and save time. So it solves, addresses all of those things that I was mentioning as being top issues for nurses.
I mean, it has to start somewhere so they can work out the kinks and then scale
Yeah,
it up to the broader population.
yeah.
So, what trends do you hope are talked about at the upcoming health conference?
Okay, so I am a really big advocate for patients and families. And I know health is focused on the industry, to say, but things that help patients to better self manage, to improve decision making, to reduce the stress of caregiving, like reimbursements, I think is a good place to start. So anything that is related to that, I would like us to start focusing more on those issues and
Mhm.
considering that, and not just from a professional perspective or IT perspective. So that's where I would like to see the discussion headed. And I know it's kind of a stretch, so I don't have high hopes, but that's where I'd like to see
That
discussions.
it would be phenomenal, right? If they're going to use
Yeah,
AI to deny claims, then
yeah.
let's use it
I
to
mean,
get
the
them
entire
approved.
infrastructure is there to help the patient, but then we're not focusing on the patient, right?
Hmm. It should be there to help the
Yeah,
patient, right?
exactly. Right.
So, is your organization announcing any exciting news at Health that will have a positive impact on nursing?
Yeah, we actually have several folks that'll be attending, and that education product I told you about, the discharge education for nurses or for patients for homegoing meds, we actually have a variant of that to help nurses at the point of first dose education. We can't expect our nurses to know every indication, every side effect for all the medicines that they're giving out. So
Mhm.
having little cheat sheets to help them remember or recall those things is something that we've been working on. And there was a major institution that actually did a study of this in actually the MAR. So within the MAR, there's a button that actually shows you that information and context. And if they found that they went from 8 clicks to 1 click in terms of getting this information to nurses. So being able to give them information at the point of care, just what they need at the time they need it, with reducing, the friction of getting to that information is what education bedside is trying to do. And I think the folks there are also going to talk about FTB Vila. So Vila is a new e-prescribing solution that kind of works alongside short scripts. So
Mm.
instead of short scripts being the only solution in town, Vila is an alternative. So if you have issues, so this could be a backup method or a primary method for doing e-prescribing. And the interesting thing is, I think they do like pet prescriptions, veterinary prescriptions,
Really?
which is a big thing. I
Yeah.
didn't even know, but I guess
They,
dogs and pets need
yeah,
prescriptions. So
they definitely do. I've heard of a
yeah,
lot of diabetic dogs lately. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So they'll have lots of prescriptions.
Depressed dogs too.
Right. Yeah. Mine
Yeah,
gets anxious, and so she has medicine for that situationally. But
yeah,
well, thank you so much, Dr. Lee, for taking the time to talk about our hopes and dreams for healthcare.
yeah.
And I hope we'll make it better for doctors and nurses.
That sounds great. Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you.
Okay.